All right, guys, welcome back. This is episode 6 on the Lost Signal podcast, and here we are. So I hope you guys enjoyed that last episode. That it was different than our usual kind of round table or square table, rectangle table discussions, and thankfully we did not roll the Jeep.
Yes. That would have been a bad day.
That would have been a really bad day. It got kind of close there, that one point that you guys saw, but it was a good time, and we are glad that you guys went along on the journey on that, for the ones who have checked that out. This episode is... What was it you called it?
I called it Rando Rama.
Rando Rama, because we were talking about, like, what are we gonna do for this episode? Are we gonna kind of circle back to the beginning and just update those topics, kind of thing, and what's going on in the latest in that specific realm? And we're like, no, let's do something different. And we talked about a little bit last but episode 4, about how you didn't look at the doc of the things that I put in there, and I at that time I just briefly glanced at some of the stuff that you put in there, but you were like, let's change it up a little bit and not look at either one of the docs that we, or the stuff that we put in the doc. And we actually did 2 separate things, two different docs to where we wouldn't have seen it, things like that. And so we have no idea what the other person is bringing to the discussion today.
That is true.
All I've heard is you're really excited and cannot wait to see my socks get blown off.
That's right.
Because you have something really crazy.
I'm going to blow your mind.
Going to blow my mind. And I hope I can at least maybe match it. I don't think I'll probably be able to top it.
You will. You'll do great.
But so are you wanting to go ahead and kind of just start off with something? It doesn't have to be that, whatever that is.
Oh, I'm saving my big one to last.
Okay. All right. The mind-blowing one.
Yes.
Okay. So are you wanting to just kind of do one and then back and forth, or you want to kind of like the last style?
No, we can do it. We can go back and forth.
Okay.
Because mine are kind of, there's one or two that's not like really long.
Okay.
It's just
all right.
It's more of a make you think kind of thing. But 4 of them are kind of long.
Okay.
The first one is, at least.
Okay.
But what got me thinking about this stuff is this is just random stuff that like pops into my head.
Okay.
That kind of thing. And one thing that got me really thinking about this subject is I just finished watching The House of David on Amazon Prime.
Right.
If you haven't watched it, go watch it. It's awesome. So that got me thinking about giants.
Right.
Because of Goliath. And so there's I got 3 topics that are based out of the Bible.
Okay.
Today.
Okay.
And the first one is giants.
Okay.
And I was wanting to know, how many times does the Bible mention giants? That kind of thing. What happened to them? And things like that. So the first time giants were mentioned in the Bible was in Genesis, and that was in Genesis 6:4, and it says that there were giants in the earth in those days, and that gets me too, because it says in the earth, not on the earth.
Oh.
So they live in caves
inside the earth, basically.
Right.
Wow.
In those days. And let's see, and also after that, the sons of God came into the daughters of man, and they bare children, and they became mighty men, and men of renown. And the only thing that I could think of was these. Let me go back here real quick. Like, how did they get here? I think, and I'm no biblical scholar, the House of David TV show portrayed it as these were the fallen angels from when Lucifer was cast out of heaven, and this was the bunch that went with him.
Yeah.
That's how the giants were created. And there's 1, 2, 3, 4. There's four or five mentionings of giants in the Bible. And the next one is Numbers, and I found this one absolutely fascinating.
Okay.
It was in Numbers 13:33, and it says, and there we saw the giants, the sons of Anak, which come of the giants, and we were in our own sight as grasshoppers, and so. Oh man, I'm struggling reading today. Let me just start over. And it says, and there we saw the giants, the sons of Anak, which come of the giants, and we were in our own sight as grasshoppers, and so we were in their sight. That's the size difference. They were like grasshoppers compared to the magnitude, height of these giants. And this one, and actually the next mentioning of it, we get dimensions of how tall this man was. And this is the Og king, Og king of Bashan, and he measured 9 cubits. So 9 cubits is roughly 18 inches in today's time. In measurement.
Like
a cubit
okay.
is roughly 18 inches. So he was 13 and a half feet tall.
That's a big dude.
Yeah.
I knew he was tall, but I didn't realize he was that tall.
Yes. And
wow. No wonder some of them are afraid.
No, I'm sorry. I apologize, everybody. I said all of that wrong. This was this man's bed. It was made of solid iron. It was 9 cubits, 13 and a half feet long, and it was 4 cubits wide, which is 6 feet wide.
So, like an Alaskan king bed.
If they're that long.
I don't know if they're that long, but that's like the biggest bed you can get.
Yeah, they're huge. All right, so then we get into Goliath in like 1 Samuel.
Okay.
And Goliath stood 9 cubits and a span.
What's a span?
A span is, and it varies depending on what size hand you have. A span,
so it's a variable thing.
Yes, a span is the measurement from the tip of your thumb to the tip of your little finger. That is a span.
Okay.
So Goliath was 6 cubits and a span tall, which equals out to be 9 feet 9 inches.
Okay.
So
now, just out of random curiosity,
sure.
I'm gonna throw this one out there. Was it like a span of one of ours, or is it his span?
I guess it would just been an average size person.
More average, so
right.
Okay.
But see, it's going to vary depending on who measures it.
Yeah.
Because from here to here is going to be different on each person.
Right.
So it's roughly. So then I got into then I kind of went down a rabbit hole.
Okay. Those are fun to go down.
They are. And I was trying to find anything on like modern day or more modern day giants. And this is what makes this part kind of long.
Okay.
I'm going to have to read a lot of it because I don't want to screw it up and say the wrong thing. But there were This was published in 1932, and it's called the Death Valley Giants, Death Valley, California.
Okay. Yep.
Okay. Mm-hmm. So 2 men by the name of Jack and Bill. I know their last names, but I don't know which one goes with which. Because later on in this, they just refer to them as their last names. So I don't know which one goes to which.
Gotcha. Okay. Makes sense.
So they were, let me try to give a little backstory on them. They were kind of like go out and have a good time archaeologists.
Okay.
They just did it because it was fun to them.
Yeah. Just passionate about it.
But they were actual doctors. Like medicine doctors.
Okay.
But they like to go dig in the dirt. So they were out in Death Valley, and they were exploring near the Wingate Pass, which is in and I'm sure I'm saying this wrong, Panamint, Panamint.
Panamint.
Sounds great. Mountains. They were exploring a mine shaft, and one of them, let me see if I can find if it says which one. Nope, just says one of them. One of them fell through the floor of the mine shaft and ended up being in like this big natural underground cave. Okay. So the other guy, don't know if it was Jack or Bill, jumped down in there, and they started, exploring. So it says here that the pair allegedly followed a tunnel for 20 miles northward into the heart of the Panamint Mountains. 20 miles. Just trying to find a way out, I guess. I'm not sure. It doesn't really go into great detail on that part. So it says the 2 men eventually arrived at a large ancient underground rooms where they reportedly found several perfectly preserved human mummies adorned with thick armbands, and they held gold spears. It says further, they said that the cavern rooms were illuminated by a system of lights fed by subterranean gases. I wonder if that would be like natural gas these days.
That's what I was thinking. Something more natural like.
Yeah. I'm going to put my glasses on. I feel my eye twitching now. Oh, there we go. Wow, that's what that says. Subterranean natural gases. And the rooms were filled with treasure. However, this time the report of the riches was more descriptive. With the men claiming they had found large statues of gold, stone vaults, drawers filled with drawers filled with gold bars and gemstones, and a beautifully polished round table. So, and then it goes on. It says that it described a perfectly balanced, heavy stone wheelbarrow with huge stone doors, which were almost perfectly balanced by counterweights. And then they said that they found some of the artifacts and they took them with them before continuing on to their journey through the tunnel, which went on an incline towards the top of the mountain, and it came out on the eastern slope. So they found an exit that came out on the eastern slope of the mountains. This article that talks about this, it kind of contradicts itself. So I'm just going to go ahead and throw that out there, because it says when the 2 men returned, they displayed the treasures they had brought down. They never brought the treasure back for people to see. Okay. They kept it near the entrance of this cave so they could go back and find it. So, and it'll say here in a minute what if they found something interesting, they would take it to that exit,
that spot,
and kind of leave it in that area so they could find it. Okay. They never brought anything back for the public to see.
Okay. They left it all at the cave.
Yes. Okay. All right. So like I said, there's Jack and Bill. Now it refers to them as Russell and Bouvet.
Okay.
So I don't know who's who. Began to explore the caverns. They followed one tunnel where they were extremely surprised to find mummified remains of 3 gigantic men ranging in height from 8 to 9 feet.
Oh, that's a big skeleton. Remains.
The giants were clothed in like a medium length jacket and trousers extending slightly past the knees. The materials resembled like a gray dyed sheepskin. There's a little gnat flying around my face. But they believe that it was taken from an animal unknown today.
So something that probably went extinct, or
right?
Something.
So they'd also found several artifacts resembling Egyptian and American Indian designs, like hieroglyphics that were chiseled into the polished granite walls. It calls them explorers here. The explorers believed they had found a burial place of a tribe's hierarchy. Okay. Okay. Following the tunnels, they came across what they described as a ritual hall of these ancient people. Here they once again found artifacts and markings, as well as, here we go, preserved remains of animals, including dinosaurs. Elephants, and tigers. Later, it was suggested that perhaps these bones belonged to the ancient saber-toothed tigers and mammoths.
Whoa. Okay.
All right. So, I'm going to have to read a little bit of this paragraph, and then I can explain a little bit. The two now it calls them doctors. The 2 doctors found hundreds of mummified giants ranging from 8 to 12 feet tall. The 2 men explored the cave system for more than 15 years and told no one about it.
That's a big secret.
Yes. So they found it in 32, so now we're in the late 40s.
Okay.
All right. So they come up with an idea that they want to bring this to the world. It's gonna be like an attraction. You pay, you get took on a tour into this place, you see all this stuff. We're gonna bring it to the public. So they need investors.
Right.
So they start hunting for investors, and they get a bunch of them, but none of them will invest unless they can go see it. And they're like, no, you're not going to go see it.
Okay.
And the reason behind that was another man in another part of the country found a cave with giants in it, and the Smithsonian found out.
Oh.
And then the land was taken by the government. So they were like, no. And so then they were like, well, we're not going to invest unless we can see something.
Right. Show us something.
Right. So it says Russell had described to Hill, which was one of the investors, that he and Bouvet had only scratched the surface of this discovery, stating that there was at least 32 tunnels, estimating that they ran across 180 square miles of Death Valley into southern Nevada.
Wow. That's a lot of underground space.
They met with the investors, and like I said, they were going to have like a press conference, and they were going to display this stuff.
Yeah.
So like I said earlier, they never brought anything back. They left it. So like the day before the press conference, Dr. Russell goes to get artifacts and bring it back for the press conference the next day. Like outside of the cave. They're bringing it
actually out at this point.
Yeah, to whatever town they were near, whatever.
Right.
And they were going to do a live press conference. He disappears.
Oh, no.
Never to be seen again. His car is found, but there's no Dr. Russell.
He's gone.
He's gone. He never comes back.
Ooh. Oh, snap.
His body's never found. Nothing.
So he straight just disappears.
Yes. So,
Wow.
but it never mentions anything else about Dr. Bouvet at all.
Okay.
It's like he just kind of like dropped out of the limelight. So, the investors pull out. Guess who shows up?
Smithsonian government.
Smithsonian.
Oh, okay.
The Smithsonian shows up, and the government shows up.
Of course, both of them.
This land is now owned by the United States government and is called China Lake Air Naval Weapons Station, where they test experimental weapons. Yeah, so no one can get to it ever again.
Of course.
Yeah. So
Sounds like a government thing.
yeah, so I went into it. It led on about, well before, we being the United States was established. This was part of the Paiute Indian lands.
Okay.
And they have stories of giants that have been passed down through all of their legends and tales and their history.
So they were very familiar with it all.
Right. And they had a name for it. It was called the Kingdom, and I will not be able to say this. It's Shin. I'll just spell it. SHIN-AU-AV.
Okay. Yeah.
Which is the meaning God's land or ghost land. But it is sacred in the Paiute history.
Okay.
So then I just asked Google, is there any evidence of these two men finding skeletal remains of giants and all kinds of stuff in Death Valley? No. It says, while there are legends and claims of giant mummies and skeletons being found in Death Valley, there is no scientific evidence that supports these claims. The most common story involves a giant mummy discovered by miners in an underground chamber, but this is likely a legend. Similar claims of giant skeletons discovered by, amateur archaeologists in Death Valley are also unsubstantiated. Some of these claims may be hoax or misinterpretations of other remains.
Of course.
Yeah.
That sounds like a very scrubbed and doctored response.
That's exactly what I was thinking when I read that. I was like, that's as vague as you can possibly make it.
Yeah.
But another thing that I heard on this was in the basement of the Smithsonian, that's where all this stuff is. Never to be seen.
Dude, I bet that is a very interesting place.
No kidding.
The basement of the Smithsonian. Mm-hmm. However large that might be. I don't have a clue. Mm-hmm. I've never been there.
I have. I've been to the Smithsonian. It was cool.
I was supposed to go one time, and I don't even remember why I didn't go.
All right. Last topic on giants.
Okay.
Did the United States military cover up a giant encounter in Afghanistan?
No one in the government, probably.
All right. So it was reported by the Defense News and the Military Times and on a military blog.
Okay.
The giant of Kandahar was described as a biblical cryptid over 13 feet tall, had 6 fingers on each hand, 2 rows of teeth, and bright red hair. Now, the 6 fingers on each hand. There was a YouTube channel that I would watch, and it was called Desert Drifter.
Okay.
And this guy he lived, I'm going to say the desert of Arizona, Utah, somewhere there, because that's where he spent most of his time, and that's where most of his videos were made. But how he found stuff was he'd go on Google Earth and just be like, that doesn't look natural. That looks man-made. So he would mark it
and go there.
And go there.
That's awesome.
And, but he found a bunch of cave art, wall art, and he found handprints of 6 fingers. from ancient times. And he said that he believes that that's how it was, and it couldn't have been faked, because like your fingers, each fingers on your hands, as you age, they bend a certain way, meaning like the curvature. See, like the curvature.
Okay.
But he had 2 sets of handprints that had an additional digit between the thumb, and the index finger. He had and it was 2 of them, just like bloop.
That's
Yeah.
wild.
Yeah. So
like,
I was like,
it was almost like, what did it act like a thumb, or did it act more like a finger?
It was long. I mean, it was like the length.
So just like another
finger coming out of right here. Yeah.
Wow.
So this there was a group of soldiers on patrol. Oh, hang on, let me get back to Desert Drifter. He's got really awesome stuff. Guys, go check him out. Unfortunately, he's no longer making videos because he died in a car wreck.
I was getting ready to say, because he passed away actually not long ago.
It was the end of last year. Yeah, he was in a coma for many weeks, and
I was looking it up, and it's Andrew, right?
Yes,
Andrew Cross.
Yep. He was awesome.
Yeah, 36-year-old. He was actually he actually passed away in March.
Oh, so it was this year. Beginning of this year.
March 4th is when he passed away.
Yeah. So, but he has an awesome channel. Go check it out if you like stuff like that.
Yeah,
which I do. All right, so there was a group of soldiers that were on patrol, and they came across this cave, and pretty much from the way the story is told, a gigantic man came out of it and impaled one of our troops.
So this giant was alive.
Yes.
It wasn't like someone found remains.
Right.
Like
this one was living and breathing.
Oh, dude.
Come out of the cave, impaled a soldier.
Oh.
And so the whole unit opens up on it.
Right.
And kills it.
Okay.
So
wow.
It was described as being around 13 feet tall, 6 fingers, 2 rows of teeth, bright red hair. So they call it in. Black helicopter shows up, gets it, gone, never seen again.
And it's like, what are you talking about?
Yeah.
You know, somebody be like, oh, what happened to this?
Yeah.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah, I don't know.
It's probably one of those.
So there was a second one, but no one ever encountered this. This was just seen. It was another sighting in Kunar on Thermal.
Oh.
So it was from a distance. It was late in the evening.
Yeah.
The way it was portrayed was like this soldier was like looking at a hilltop, or like a fault summit but he found like a big heat signature. And the way he described it was, it looked like a group of men, like huddled together.
Right.
And he said, which the Taliban did. They would come together and then they would disperse and all that. He said, so he was just watching it and
waiting for it to disperse, basically.
Right. And he said you could see the heat signature moving and all that kind of stuff, and then it stood up.
And then it stood up.
Yeah, and then it stood up. And he said it was above the trees, because the trees there they're shorter.
Yeah. Short trees, big guys.
I wouldn't know. I've never been. But they estimated from the distance that this man saw it, it was 10 to 12 feet tall. And it just went up, kept going up around this hill, and then just disappeared. Never to be seen again. Nobody engaged it. Nobody did anything. It was just gone.
Could you imagine like seeing that on thermals or whatever? Just
yeah,
like,
no.
But like and then it stood up.
And then it stood up.
Wow.
Yeah. So that was my first topic.
Okay.
Giants.
Wow. Huh.
So
Very good.
thank you.
Yes, sir.
Let's hear what you got. Let's hear your first topic. Blow my mind.
So I come across this this story, and I thought it was pretty interesting. So, all right. So this imagine, say, one of your vehicles gets stolen. Okay. Do you think I'm gonna start this off with a question?
Sure.
Do you think that, say, a few weeks later, after it getting stolen and trying to find it, whatever, you're like, okay, well, I just need to find another vehicle. But do you, looking for the same type of vehicle that was stolen, do you think you would be able to recognize that vehicle for sale?
Like my vehicle for sale?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
I think I would be able to.
Okay. See, that's what I thought too. Except this guy, an Englishman. So he had a Honda Civic Type R.
Okay.
An older one. It was about 9 years old, and it was stolen. And so I'm gonna kind of take you through the journey that this guy, how he discovered it and what he went on, and because I thought that I would be able to be like, yeah, that's my car. But these thieves weren't stupid. So this guy, he was devastated when his 9-year-old Honda Civic Type R was stolen. His girlfriend woke up one morning to drive his car to work, but it was gone. He notified police and his insurance company about the theft. But things were moving along at a snail's pace. So he started looking around online to replace his pride and joy. And having become attached to his little speed demon, which they can be,
right,
fun little cars to drive, when he found one that was virtually identical to the one that he had, down to even the custom exhaust system that he had. He's like, man, I can't believe this. This is crazy. The car had different registration plates, but other than that, it looked just like his stolen Type R. For some reason, he never really considered the possibility that could actually be his car that was stolen. And basically, so he was like, this guy, he's like 36 years old, and he's like, so it seems to be perfect, right? Like this car is like a great replacement for the one that I had. And he went down to the garage to check it over, but he said that his judgment was a little clouded by the desperation of just needing to replace the car. So he didn't do like a thorough check of every little thing. So he bought the car. He paid £20,000 or $26,800 US for the black Honda Civic. However,
was it black when it was stolen?
Yes.
Okay.
However, he quickly started noticing strange things after he purchased the car. So while checking the trunk, he found a tent. He found a tent hood and some Christmas tree pines that he had had in his stolen car. Then he found some wrappers he remembered leaving in his old Honda. So they didn't clean it very well. They didn't clean it out, but there was but he what really made him like, okay, this has to be the car that was stolen, is that he had a beer bottle in there at one point, and it wasn't empty, so it had a beer in there, and it accidentally had shattered in the car. So there was that distinctive smell. Well, that, but also the smell
right.
of beer in the car. And he's like, I started driving home feeling a little strange about the situation because it could all have been a coincidence.
Yeah.
maybe still.
Yeah.
But suddenly he had the idea of checking the sat nav history of the car. Sure enough, there was my address, or his address, his parents' address, his partner's address, and the places they would visit over the previous couple of years that he had the car.
Yeah.
And then it dawned on him that his phone connected instantly whenever he left the garage. He didn't pair the phone. It just connected back up.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
I was like, okay. Rather than needing to, pair it as a new device.
Mm-hmm.
So it was pretty clear at that point.
Yeah.
Once he, sat down and thought about it for a little bit, he's like, wait a minute.
Yeah.
This can't be a coincidence, especially with the phone, because, please identify and pair a new device,
Yeah.
whatever. He didn't have to do any of that.
Yeah.
It paired right up. So after contacting the police, he learned that the vehicle identification number, the VIN, here's this, did not match the one of his old car. Okay.
Changed it.
They changed it. The thieves had, went through different things, different lengths to replace it. It had been scratched off the engine. The embossed plate on the door frame and been replaced. They put a sticker on it over it with a different VIN, and the engine serial number had been painted over. So, but he's like, that's my car.
Yeah.
Once he discovered all this, they did further checks, and the thieves even tried to override the VIN number in the ECU in the computer on the car, because they plugged in a laptop to the car, and then they managed to do some digging through the ECU and find the original VIN. So they could see where it was. They tried to change it, or they did change it, but they missed something and didn't fully change it in all the code or whatever.
Gotcha.
The evidence collected by the police suggests that the garage this guy had bought back his stolen car from had no idea it had been stolen either. They had been just deceived by the thieves as well. So I thought that was pretty interesting, that the garage didn't even know, or allegedly.
Right.
I mean, I don't know, but I feel like I would recognize.
Yeah, I think I would too. The only way that they could get me, they would have to take everything off of my Jeep and take it back stock.
Yeah, that would really throw you for a loop.
Then I wouldn't be able to. But if you left it as it sits, the War Wagon sticker has been on there long enough to where the paint under it is probably darker than the paint on the outside.
It would have to be repainted.
Yeah, you'd have to paint it. I think I would know it. The inside is, I know, I have where I had a CB radio in it. There's drilled holes into the side. So yeah,
like cosmetic things that
there's like, cosmetic.
I remember that.
This is mine. I did this. I think I could recognize my vehicle.
Yeah.
Now the only way I couldn't recognize my truck is if they really cleaned it, because it is filthy.
We're like, no, this can't be mine.
This can't be mine. This is too clean. My truck is absolutely filthy.
Well, it's a work truck.
Yes,
for the most part.
It is. And my son is like, we need to get a new truck. And he's like, it's so dirty. And I'm like, we use it to take trash off.
Yeah.
It's fine. It's not in.
It will be okay.
Yeah, it's not like it's in your pretty truck contest or anything like that. It just sits in the driveway all week.
Man, I was kind of disappointed in
how dirty my truck was.
No.
Oh.
But like you said, like the pretty truck contest or whatever. Man, so on the way over here, they had we passed by a car show, And
uptown or
it was off the interstate up there near the college.
no?
Yeah, it was in one of the lots over there. And I told my son, I was like, as we were driving by, I was like, look, car show, I got excited. And he's like, yeah, I saw it the other day. They had them over the other place. Son,
Yeah,
come on, man.
they don't care about nothing.
Kids. But
Can't scroll it on a screen. It doesn't matter.
I seen a funny story whenever I was looking at that one about that too. But Rando Rama.
Mm-hmm.
All right. And I'm just going to insert this little funniness of a statement.
It's a little tidbit.
Yeah, little tidbit, because that's all there is on this topic.
Oh, okay.
And then I'll hand it back over to you.
Sure.
All right. So there's a snail in New Zealand. It's endangered, but it gives birth out of its neck.
What?
Now you know. All right, carry on.
Wow.
I seen that, and I was like, first, ew. Second, like,
Yeah.
what?
Out of its neck?
Yeah. So it, it lays eggs from a pore in its neck, which is located just below its head.
Huh.
Powell infanta augusta, a carnivorous snail native to New Zealand.
Well, let me darn.
Yeah. Now you know.
Now I know.
I just couldn't keep that as a secret, like,
Right.
the giant. I had to share it. I couldn't be like Jack and Bill.
Yeah.
I think-
Holding on to it for 15 years.
I was like, no, I got to share this one. This is just crazy.
Speaking of crazy stuff,
Yeah.
did you see the video of the plate shift in Miramar?
Yes.
That
Whoa.
is terrifying.
Whoa.
Yeah, it was
I mean,
caught on camera.
Yes, I did
And
see that.
You can see it's. We'll post it
Sure.
on this.
Yeah.
But you can see like the earth move and the camera stays still.
I mean, it's like,
Yeah, and it moves a good bit.
mm-hmm.
That's terrifying.
I was like, I don't want to live there.
Yeah, no kidding.
I don't want to live right there. Dude, it reminded me of the, San Andreas, the movie. I mean, because it's like a
Yeah.
fault line or whatever.
Yeah,
That's basically what it was, but this was real life.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh,
yeah.
No,
that
thank
was
you.
Crazy.
that's terrifying.
Yes. Now we're going to talk about old people. Don't worry about it. I love old people. I am old, but not this old. And these aren't the taxpayers that the government found, or not the taxpayers. The
Voters. No.
the beneficiaries of.
Oh.
What did we talked about it in the very first episode?
Yeah, like 200 years old or whatever.
Yeah,
Social Security.
Yes.
Yeah, that.
Yeah, it's not them.
Oh, it's Yoda.
Just
It's
so you know,
Yoda.
it's not them.
It's Yoda. It's 900 years old.
There's a person I'm getting ready to talk about that is older than 900.
No.
All right, so the topic right here is, and what brought this up,
Yeah.
or what got me, random thought ran into my head.
Yeah.
We were coming home the other night, it's last week, from my son's baseball game, and we were listening to 106.9, and in the evenings, they have preaching or
Bible teaching stuff.
Bible teaching, thing like that. Well, I don't remember who they were talking about or anything like that. But they were talking about his age and how old he was. And they said that he was hundreds and hundreds of years old.
Okay.
And I was just like, oh, okay, hundreds and hundreds of years
How many hundreds?
old. Yeah.
Right.
And, I'm driving and I'm like, why did people live longer, or why did people live longer in the Bible than we did? Or
Right.
than we do now. So I was like, Michelle.
Because you'd be lucky to get 100.
Yeah. I was like, Michelle, why do you think people in the Bible lived so much longer than we do? And, she was like, I don't know. I was like, all right, thank you. And, I kept going. So I looked into it.
Yeah.
So this is kind of like a list of people, and starting from the oldest, going to the youngest on this list, and then
Okay.
it kind of explains. Well, the AI of Google tries to explain why it thinks that people live longer then than they do now, and it has some validity to it. I think what the answer that it came up with,
Okay.
because I don't think, like I said before when I was talking about giants, I'm not a biblical scholar. I don't know if it does in the Bible say anywhere in there why these folks lived so much longer than we do now.
Okay.
You know,
I have.
Okay.
Go ahead first,
Okay, good.
and I might have something to
Awesome.
go after that.
Thank you. All right. So the oldest person in the Bible was Methuselah. Methuselah lived to be 969 years old.
Could you imagine the stuff that he's seen?
No kidding. So he is the oldest person in the Bible. He was Noah's grandfather.
Okay.
And it says he walked. Oh, no. Hang on. Stop. Methuselah died the same year as the flood. So at 969 years old. The second oldest was Jared at 962.
Oh, so close to him.
Yeah. He was a descendant of Seth. Jared fathered Enoch at 162 years old.
Wow.
And
Became a father.
became a father at 162 years old, and lived until he was 962. And it talks about him in Genesis 5:18 through 20.
I guess that would be kind of equivalent to like early 20s.
I guess.
By today's ages.
I guess.
Or something.
So Noah.
Wow.
Noah lived to be 950. So Noah lived for 350 years after the flood. So that means the flood happened when he was 600.
And because that was Noah, right?
Noah.
So I'm trying to remember how many years it took him to build.
Google says
Ark.
50 to 75.
Took to build the ark? Okay.
So,
Wow.
yeah. Then you have Adam, the very first
Yeah, the first.
man, 930. So, yeah, being the first human to ever live, and he passed at 930. It talks about him again here in a minute, I think.
Okay.
No, it's someone else. Never mind. Seth is the brother of Cain and Abel, so it's Adam and Eve's third son.
Okay.
But then it says that, let me find it. Adam and Eve. Oh, no, maybe not. Yeah. So Seth, he passed away at 912. Then you have Kenan at 910. He is the grandson of Seth, and he fathered, I will never be able to say this right, but it is Mahallalel. Yeah.
I don't know.
When he was 70. Then you have Enos, which is the son of Seth. And Enos lived to be 905. And he is the grandson of Adam and Eve. Then you have that guy's name that I just spelled. He passed at 895 years old. And it says here he would have lived until when Noah was 234. All right, then you got Lamech at 777. the son of Methuselah and father to Noah. And it says Adam would have still been alive for the first 56 years of Lamech's life.
That's amazing.
Yeah. And then the last one that it talks about is Enoch. Because you know you have that supposedly other book of the Bible, the book of Enoch, which there is, yes, a book of Enoch. I don't believe it was ever in the Bible. That's just my personal opinion.
Right.
The father of Methuselah. It talks about Enoch very, very briefly in the Bible, in Genesis. I think it's this verse that it referenced to is Genesis 5:24, but it also talks about him in 5:23. Genesis describes him as someone who was walking in close fellowship with God, and then it says, and then God took him. So I don't know, let me... Let's see. All right. It says, and Enoch walked with God, and then he was not, for God took him.
So he didn't actually physically die. To my knowledge, I don't think he did.
I don't think so.
He bypassed death,
and
essentially.
God took him.
Yeah.
That's the last mention that I can find of him. So I don't know.
Was it Genesis 5?
Yep.
Yeah.
5:20. Yeah. 5:23 and 24.
Okay. It's like he bypassed death. Wow.
So here's what I was saying about, this is Google's AI giving a reason why. Some of it makes sense, but some of it to me doesn't.
Okay.
It says, so the difference is often attributed to a variety of factors, including the ideal conditions of a pre-flood world. That's the only thing I agree with out of what's coming next.
Okay.
Because then it goes on to say the lack of sin and decay.
Okay.
So you have perfection at the beginning. They eat from the tree. Sin enters the world. Decay enters the world. And it gets worse until God sends flood to wipe out everything.
He said enough.
Yeah. So I don't agree with that, because it just continuously got worse as time went on.
Yeah.
So, but it says of lack of sin and decay, and then the possibility of a canopy.
Is this the AI?
Yeah.
Okay, gotcha.
That shielded the earth from harmful radiation. Okay. Yeah. But that's it. That's it.
Okay. So
you said you had may have an answer,
possibly, and I can't remember all the details on this, but I remember it was talking about the atmosphere before and after the flood, because not only did it rain down, water came up out of the ground, right? So there's a lot of atmospheric changes, a lot of changes to the planet during that time, and so it seems, so what I heard was that the oxygen level was different, was more before the flood.
Okay.
Causing things to be larger.
Okay, yeah.
Versus after the flood, where the oxygen level decreased.
What caused it to decrease?
Something with the flood. I don't know. They went into a whole lot more detail.
Who's they? Where'd you see this? Because I want to look into it too.
Okay. And I know this guy got into some legal trouble a few years ago. Tax issues, whatever.
Sure.
Yeah, not getting into it. But so his name is Kent Hovind.
Never heard of it.
A young Earth, well, not some young now. He was born in 53, but a creationist, and he proposed that a drastic different atmospheric condition existed before Noah's flood compared to after. The pre-flood environment, like the hyperbaric atmosphere. Do you know what that is? Because I don't.
I've heard of a hyperbaric chamber.
Yes. So
that's all I got.
Yeah. So that the Earth had a much higher atmospheric pressure, possibly double than the current pressure, due to a vapor canopy. Isn't that the word you just used?
It says canopy.
Yeah. This canopy, according to Hovind, was a layer of water vapor surrounding the Earth, creating a greenhouse effect and a higher atmospheric pressure. Enhanced oxygen levels also posits that the pre-flood atmosphere contained a significantly higher concentration of oxygen, potentially exceeding 30% compared to today's roughly 21%. This combined with a higher pressure would result in significantly greater partial pressure of oxygen. So, and he goes into different like the hyperbaric, the oxygen chambers that you can go in for an hour or two, or like there's what do they call them, like oxygen bars or something, where you can hook up to like oxygen and just like you feel like you can just run for miles afterwards.
I doubt it.
Well, allegedly. I haven't done it. I was very interested, but I'm not about to go buy one of these little oxygen containers that feel empty, and it says on there, this feels empty but it contains oxygen.
Right.
No, I'm good. But he also goes in and talks about the effects of the hyperbaric and high oxygen environment. What would that look like?
Okay.
Larger organisms. Okay. He theorized that the hyperbaric and oxygen rich environment enabled the growth of much larger organisms, including humans and dinosaurs. He also has the nickname Dr. Dino. But anyway, he argues that the dinosaurs were not cold-blooded lizards, but rather reptiles that grew to giant sizes due to the increased oxygen and pressure, potentially even suggesting that the Triceratops was just like a Jackson's chameleon with an oxygen boost.
I don't even know what a Jackson's chameleon is.
I don't either. But while you're
I'm on it.
But also here's this supporting what you were just talking about, longer lifespans. He suggests that the higher atmospheric pressure and oxygen level may have also contributed to the dramatically longer lifespans mentioned in Genesis before the flood. So basically all the ones that you were just talking about, most of them were pre-flood, right?
Yeah.
Except Noah, obviously, but he was there pre-flood, during the flood, and then post, what, 250?
300.
300 years.
350, sorry.
Yeah. And whoa.
It has 3 horns.
Wow.
We'll show y'all this.
Yeah. Jackson's chameleon.
Yeah.
Whoa. Okay. All right.
It has 3 horns.
I can kind of see that. Kind of.
Maybe. I don't know.
I didn't know a Triceratops' eyes would, rotate or move differently. But anyway,
sure.
I mean, I could see the it's not off the table.
Right.
But the post-flood environment, what did that look like? So the collapse of the vapor canopy, because when the flood happened, the water collapsed down onto the earth. Like any water, because it talked about like he goes into like there's multiple heavens, if you will, like layers in the atmosphere, and he talks about like the heaven that we all think of. He said that's, I think, the third heaven or something. Like there's different layers. Like he broke it down into, like, I was like, okay.
Was this a TV show?
He had his own show.
Okay.
I don't know, or he had a series. This has been several years ago, but it was I don't know if it was actually on TV, but he had like a DVD series.
Oh, okay. Okay.
That I had. I don't know if it was from the library or church that I was at the time had it or something.
Okay.
I wound up watching it and I was like, whoa, this is crazy. But anyway, so there was that, lowered oxygen levels, and that also smaller life forms, which, you know, and shorter lifespans. Just out of curiosity, though, that giant that was in Afghanistan, I think you said, did they ever come out and say how old they thought it was? Okay.
No.
That, I don't know, but that double row of teeth, that kind of trips me out.
Yeah. But that's not the first
sighting
thing I've heard of them having 2 rows of teeth.
Okay.
Just on other stuff that I've found and watched and things like that.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
But yeah, that's what I was referring to. But it was Kent Hovind. And I know, yeah, it was like some tax issues and stuff, like he didn't pay. And so he got into some trouble, legal trouble with that. But
him and Wesley.
Yeah. But apparently he spoke at a lot of young earth creationism in schools, churches. He done some debates, and he actually was on a radio and TV broadcast. Let's see. So yeah, he his son took over the operation, as they call it, after he started serving some time due to some of the legal things that he got in trouble with. And
this guy might be a little cuckoo.
Well, I was looking at some of the more recent stuff, and I'm like, oh.
He, I just typed in that young earth creationism, because I've never heard of it. And it says young earth creationism is the belief that the earth and the universe were created by God within the past 6,000 to 10,000 years. No, that's not true.
According to...
The timeline doesn't match up because the earth is like 4.5 billion years old.
That's a debatable topic right there.
So,
just so you know, that can get hot among certain people.
That's fine.
And that's fine. Yeah, he basically he kind of had a mindset that he didn't have to pay taxes, and that eventually caught up to him.
It would be nice.
Yeah, it would be amazing.
It would be awesome.
If we didn't have to pay taxes.
We didn't have to pay taxes.
But we do.
I would love that.
Yeah, that would be great. But anyway, so that was that. But apparently, he got into, after getting out, he got into some other trouble that I'm just going to leave it at that. If you guys want to look it up, fine.
Sure.
If not, whatever.
Okay.
But that's what came to mind.
Right.
Was this guy's
account
theory, proposal, whatever you want to call it. And you know, that was from where he went into more detail whenever I watched that series. And you know, I was like, that kind of makes sense, you know, because the atmosphere changed so much from where it was before. You know, things got smaller, things didn't live as long. Okay, you know, kind of makes sense. But anyway,
cool.
Yeah, next.
That's on you.
That's on me. Okay. So I know the answer to this, but I'm going to ask it anyway.
7.
Okay. I'll try to put 7 in there somewhere.
Yes. Oh, I'll just hush. Go ahead.
Okay, you said yes.
No.
You heard it, folks. He said yes. Skydiving.
Absolutely not. There's no purpose. There's no reason to ever jump out of a perfectly running airplane. No.
Okay.
I'm not going to skydive.
Well,
If the Lord wanted me in the sky, he'd have put wings on me. So,
okay.
yeah, I'm going to stay on the ground.
What about in a plane?
I would fly.
Okay.
I'd be scared to death the whole time, but I'd fly. I'm not going to jump out of it.
Okay.
I'll go down with it.
What about a helicopter?
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's still flying.
But it, especially in this area with the mountains, it's a different experience.
I bet so.
Because it's...
You got to go with the terrain. Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, so this guy, he was skydiving. And this is kind of a shorter topic, but I've got another one. If you want me to hit that one too. But, or we can continue our respected back and forth. But this guy,
Was skydiving.
And 14,000 feet from a plane. He had his phone with him, as you probably would. Maybe.
I don't know if I would or not.
Well, he had his phone.
Okay.
And I say it like that because he then didn't have his phone. It fell out of
Flew out of his hand.
Yeah. Well, actually, one of the front pockets on his wingsuit wasn't closed. And when he jumped,
Gotcha.
it fell.
Okay.
And this was pretty wild, and try to include it. It was a video of his GoPro. Whenever he jumped out of the plane, it actually captured his phone flying out of his wingsuit, or falling out, not necessarily flying. I guess.
Could you see the curvature of the Earth at 14,000 feet? Sort of, kinda.
Meh. A little bit.
Okay. For all them naysayers.
So it was 4,267 meters or 14,000 feet.
Okay.
This guy jumped out of the airplane without closing one of the front pockets of his wingsuit, which caused he had a iPhone 13 Pro Max falling out almost immediately after leaving the airplane. Does not say if he had a case on it or not. I would assume probably.
Yeah, most people do.
Yeah, most. And if you don't, it's like you must like always have a pillow underneath your phone.
Yeah.
Drive it like there's no way I could survive, or my phone would not survive without a case on it, because almost every modern day phone
I drop mine all the time.
is not just glass on the front, but it's glass on the back too. And I'm just like, and apparently for some weird reason, the back is more expensive to replace than the screen.
Of course.
I don't know if it's the wireless charging or what.
Yeah, I didn't think of that.
Because that's part of the glass piece.
Yeah.
But anyway, this is just crazy to me that it's more expensive. But anyway, so with it being an iPhone, well, okay, let me back up. So the GoPro had captured on his helmet the moment that that the phone had fallen out of his wingsuit. But before checking the footage, he just was convinced that he left it on the plane. Okay, yeah, I forgot my phone. It's on the plane. I'll get it whenever it lands. However, after searching for it on the phone, on the plane, he didn't find it.
Right.
So he decided to pull up on a different device, the Find My iPhone or Find My app, and learned that his phone was actually about 4 miles away from where he had landed. So whenever he drove to that location, and to his amazement and surprise, that phone was still working.
There's no way possible.
It was still working.
Lies.
So he said, he's like, so I brought my phone in my wingsuit just in case the others couldn't find me when I landed. Okay. Left my pocket open. And from the helmet camera, you can actually see it sticking out. It flies off whenever I jump. Gone. I didn't even know that it was gone. I thought that I had left it on the plane. Nobody could see it on the plane, so I used the Find My app and saw that it was in a forest about 4 miles from where he landed. So I got a detail wrong. He didn't drive to it. He walked. About 30 minutes to its location.
All right.
37-year-old engineer expected to find his handheld in pieces or seriously roughed up.
Yeah.
But it hardly had a mark on it. And it seemed to work just as well as before its hard landing.
Lies.
If anything, it gets better. You're like, this is going to be bogus.
Right.
All right. If anything, it actually worked better.
There's no possible way.
As a button on it had been stuck ever since he had accidentally spilled a drink on it, and now it appeared to be working flawlessly.
Like your volume up and down, and
I guess so. Yeah. Like it was sticky or something.
Huh. I could see an impact helping that.
Yeah. And then
but not, yeah. It would help it so much that the phone detonates, it just explodes on the ground.
Yeah. And he said, because it was a couple years ago, this dude had a stuck button for a couple years. Apparently he was in a restaurant and spilled something on the phone. No matter how much he cleaned it, according to him, the side button was still stuck.
Like the one that cuts your screen on and off?
I don't know. It doesn't say which button. I don't know if it was a power button or one of the volume buttons or something.
Well, there's only one button on one side.
Yeah, because the 13 it's got the silent switch, the actual physical rocker,
and then the up and down,
the volumes up and down, and then on the other side is the power button. So I guess it was one of those. He doesn't say which one it was.
Sure.
All he says that after falling 14,000 feet, his phone works better.
Yeah, okay.
There's not a scratch on it, and it was as if it had fallen out of his pocket right there, and then he said it was unbelievable that just shouldn't have happened.
Because it didn't.
I was waiting for you to say that. But that I don't know. I mean, I've seen other stories where it's like, because, like different phones, not just iPhones, they're waterproof and they're this, that, and the other, all these different claims. And they claim it up to a certain amount. But I've seen where, like these magnetic fishermen, whatever, where they throw a magnet in the river and pull stuff up. And they can pull some very interesting things. Sometimes they have to call bomb squads or whatever. They find all kinds of stuff. But they would find a phone, and of course, by that point, the battery would be dead.
Right.
But they would let it dry, like get the water out of the charger port, and then they would plug it up to see if they could find the owner. And crazy enough, it comes on, and there's no water damage. And it was in there for days, if not longer.
Right.
And it's just amazing that, they say it's waterproof up to, I don't know, whatever, 30 feet for 30 minutes or whatever.
Sure.
They officially say.
Yeah.
But it's much longer than that. Most of the time. Not always.
They're going to have to increase their distance that it can be dropped now to 14,000 feet.
Yeah. So it's because he was talking about I guess Apple just received some free advertising. But I'm like, that makes me think there was no case. But I'm like, shout out to the case maker, man. If there was a case, there would have to be a case.
I don't think it would matter if there was a case. if it's falling from that distance.
Yeah. But it did fall in the forest. It didn't fall like on concrete or pavement. I feel like that would dramatically change.
Still.
But then again,
Say you fell from 14,000 feet.
Yeah.
And you fell into a forest.
Yeah.
And you played Plinko off of the tree limbs.
Ouch.
You'd still splat.
Probably.
These are more fragile than we are.
So, okay. All right. Now let me ask you this. And because I don't know the answer.
Okay.
But so 14,000 feet.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Do you continue increasing speed the further you go, or does your weight and the resistance of the air and gravity pull what all those
Terminal velocity.
Yeah. Do you like
You'll
get to a
maintain.
speed and just
Maintain it.
maintain it? You don't keep increasing speed, right? So I just can't but wonder if that had something to do with the phone, because it's not heavy. If it would not slow down, but like only go a certain speed. And if that had something to do with it, no matter how high it is, it's just going to be the same. Say, for example, if it was dropped from 500 feet versus 14,000 feet, would it fall the same speed? I don't know. Like after it is in the air for so many seconds or whatever, and it hits that speed, whatever it is, it just stays there.
Right.
Because, I mean, you hear 14,000 feet and you're like, there's no way anything like that survived. No way. But I just can't but wonder if it's like that at a shorter height. But yeah, it doesn't even mention that it had cracks on it or anything.
All right. Here we go.
Okay.
I put in, if you weighed as much as an iPhone 13.
Google's probably like, huh?
Yeah. What would be your terminal velocity?
Okay.
30 to 40 miles an hour.
Okay.
So it's by weight.
Okay.
How I'm assuming.
Right.
Yeah,
So
it says it would be relatively slow, around 30 to 40 miles an hour. iPhone 13 weighs about 173 to 174 grams. And the terminal velocity is influenced by those factors.
okay. Okay. So that is
Right.
okay. And do you think whenever it comes to kind of circling back to that waterproofing thing real quick, freshwater versus saltwater, do you think that would affect the length of time that it could be in water?
Yeah, salt water's worse.
So
It's more corrosive.
yeah. So there was this guy, this is at the bottom of this story, that he had, this was an iPhone 14, but still.
And it went to the bottom of the ocean and came back and it worked.
It was in the ocean. How did you know? No, he dropped it in the ocean. I don't know how deep it was. I don't know if it was just on the beach.
Right.
Or I don't know how he went about recovering it either. I have no idea.
Right.
But
It had a life jacket on. A little iPhone life jacket. Yeah, and it came back to the top. I don't know. All right, go ahead.
that would be wild.
I'll shut up.
But it was in the ocean for 33 days.
There's no possible way that phone still works.
Only to find it still working perfectly.
that's lies. Okay, go ahead.
And then there was an iPhone 10. This was some history previous that worked after spending 10 months at the bottom of a river. How about that one?
No.
Still don't think so?
Stuff would start corroding.
Well, this is freshwater though, but still. Do you think it would still corrode?
I mean, I don't know how long something has to be underwater before it starts to corrode.
I don't know. Let's ask the Titanic or the submersible.
I can't. I'm sure there's a phone down there. If somebody went and got it, it'd still work. How long?
No, I wonder. That makes me wonder. Did a phone survive?
Survive what?
The submersible.
Oh, I'm sure. Sure, if you just let it dry out and plug it in, it'd still work.
But everything else imploded.
True. Why bother? Oh. Here we go. What kind of answer is this?
AI.
Good grief. All right. The time it takes for metal to start corroding underwater varies greatly depending on the type of metal it is, water conditions, and other factors. It says generally this could take anywhere between a few hours to a year.
Oh. Okay.
That's why I said, what kind of answer is this?
A few hours to a year.
To a year to start corroding.
What the crap?
Yeah.
So I guess like titanium and stainless steel and
you're like,
takes longer.
Yeah.
Assumingly.
But like
aluminium,
but like metal. I guess it starts a lot sooner.
Okay. And then again, freshwater versus saltwater affects that too. It'd have to.
Yeah. Like when this was, I don't know, this has been a while back. Last time we went to the beach, I don't even remember when it was. We took the Jeep, and everybody's like, drive in the water, because you can drive on the beach on the Outer Banks. And I was like, no.
Yeah.
No, I'm not putting it in the water.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
It'll start rusting before I got to the house.
Well, just like the salt they put on the roads.
Yeah.
If you don't wash underneath.
Yeah. It'll eat it.
Dude. Causes some damage. All right, man.
All right, here we go.
Back to you, sir.
All right. Last.
Is this it?
Topic. No.
Oh.
Last topic involving the Bible.
Oh, okay. All right. What we got?
Is the CIA covering up Noah's Ark?
Oh, I was like, the CIA is not in the Bible, dude.
No, it's not. Well, if your phone can fall from 14,000 feet. All right. So, all right. Hang on.
Okay.
Hang on. Let me.
Yeah.
So, starting in
this is exciting.
1950.
Okay.
To 1982.
Okay.
The CIA sent U-2 spy planes over the site where the Ark is, Noah's Ark is supposed to be, and took pictures. As much as they possibly could. So, like I said, from it says the 50s to 82. So
somewhere in the 50s.
We'll just say 1950 to 1982. That's 32 years.
Okay.
All right. So, and as that time progresses, pictures get better and better and better.
Right.
With technology improving and things like that. So after they announced in a declassified CIA document that this investigation is over, or we're not going to do this anymore, or anything like that, everybody's like, awesome, great, release the pictures. No.
Why not?
It says they're inconclusive. But you spent 32 years.
I was going to say, you keep going back to it.
Taking pictures
year after year
of Mount Ararat in Turkey. But you won't release the pictures to it?
Due to inconclusive.
Yeah.
Then if they're inconclusive, then release them.
Exactly.
If there's nothing there, release them.
Yeah. No. Sorry.
There's something there. There's got to be. Maybe.
I mean...
Why won't they release the pictures?
No, because it's the government.
Somebody up there is like, nah.
Yeah.
We're just going to start something. Nah.
Yeah. But yeah, they won't release the pictures that they took for 32 years. So.
I saw something, and there again, my goodness, the thing with AI is ridiculous. But,
I'll go ahead. No. You do yours next. No.
Nope.
I was going to jump in and do this real little one, but
You can.
I'll do it.
No.
I'll do it after yours. We'll just keep going the same back and forth. Unless it's more stuff about iPhones falling from Mars and all this kind of stuff. And it still works.
No, actually, it's not. But I can. Hang on one second.
Yeah. Let me see if I can find more of that.
But no, it was like it was on that topic though, about the Mount Ararat in eastern Turkey. I don't know. Well, this wasn't the CIA that done these pictures. It was some sort of geologist or something. But it was kind of in that shape of a boat. You've probably seen them.
Yeah, I've seen the pictures.
Yeah, of those. But that's not
From everything that's been said, it's the exact measurement of the ark given from what the Bible says how big it is.
Because the Bible tells you
what they found,
how big that boat was.
Yeah.
And what it was made of and all those things. And the have you been to the Ark Experience?
Yeah, in Kentucky.
Yeah, in Kentucky.
It's awesome. Yeah.
It's crazy.
Yeah, it's mind blowing.
It's so
how
cool.
big that thing is.
Yeah. And no wonder it took them
50 to 75 years. Yeah,
all those years to build. At what, 600 years old?
Yeah.
There's something crazy. But anyway, but yeah, those pictures that others have released, it looks like that boat.
Like a boat.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Kind of that oval.
I also heard something that archaeologists around Mount Ararat have found. I forgot the exact term of what they're called, but they're stone, and they're half buried into the ground, and they've had a hole cut out in them, and these are like ancient. And one theory says that the ark just needed to float. It didn't need to sail.
Oh.
So it was anchored the whole time.
Whoa.
And just went
up with the water level.
And then sat back down.
I never thought about that.
Yeah. That's what this one archaeologist is like. That's a theory he's throwing out.
Right.
It's like, it never didn't need to sail. It just needed to float.
So he's saying they anchored it, essentially.
That it was anchored on all four corners. That's what he's saying. I mean, and he's found the stones around Mount Ararat and he even showed them, there's like folks in Florida, they use them as like yard decorations. They're just and they're just big stones with a hole cut into them where they can send a rope through and hold a boat.
I think I've seen something like that before. I knew it didn't have to sail. But I always just thought of, and I guess it's kind of depicted in some of the films and documentaries and stuff.
That it did.
It did. Yeah, it just like floated along and it just drifted. I thought it was just, a different spot. But that's very interesting that he's saying that it was just anchored.
Yeah.
But at that Ark encounter, that thing is big.
Yeah.
Obviously, if you compare it to like today's ships and stuff, that's different. We're talking like way different materials, and this was all wood and stuff like that. And so that's you can't compare that to like an iron built ship.
Right.
That's different. You can. All these different cruise line companies have come out, and one in particular has the record for the largest cruise ship currently, and it's like a floating city.
Oh yeah.
I don't know if you've seen it, but it dwarfs other cruise lines. And those are big ships, but this one is just stupid huge. and it's like a floating city, and it's like on the back of it, like, well, on the front you've got like this huge glass dome,
Right.
and on the back it's like open in the middle, and you can see almost all the way to the front.
Oh, that's Norwegian. Norwegian cruise lines, I think, have that. Yeah, it's
Was
like
it Norwegian?
I think so.
I couldn't remember if it was Norwegian or Royal Caribbean. It was one of those. But it's just amazing what they can do now. But for that time period, though, and for everything that Noah had available, obviously it was wood and stuff like that. But it's still a good size vessel.
Oh yeah.
So it's still amazing, even by today's standards, because it's just everything that went into it.
Right.
And into the construction of it.
All right, hang on a second.
Okay.
I'm gonna have to look into this more. I was looking at seeing if it actually says in the Bible if it does, you know, like go like how you said, along with the flow of the water and things like that. So I'll do, instead of sitting here just me looking at my phone and you waiting on me to say something, I'll do that later.
Okay.
We'll give that answer on the next episode.
Leave your suspicions in the comments.
Yes.
Was there more that you had on that topic?
No, they just won't release the photos after taking
Figures.
them for 32 years. So, bunch of heathens.
I know.
Jeez. Just like the government.
Sounds like something the government would do. So, this, I thought this story was crazy. So,
Crazier than the last one?
more so, I guess, like, really kind of ludicrous. Like, really? Why?
Let's hear what you got.
Okay. Would you be happy or upset if you were being compared at work to Darth Vader?
I would love it.
This woman didn't.
What?
So much so, she sued her workplace
Oh my God. I think that would be awesome.
and won.
Oh, of course. I can completely imagine that.
$39,000.
I'd take it. But I wouldn't sue over it.
So this woman was
Was she a supervisor? Kind of like in that type of role.
I don't think so.
Oh, okay. I mean, if it don't say, it's fine.
I don't think so.
Okay.
But well, it doesn't say,
Okay.
actually.
Okay.
I mean, that would be like, if they were the supervisor, sure. Like, yes.
Yeah. Yeah.
But because I mean, he was in charge.
I know.
I mean, or at least Sidious made him think he was.
Palpatine.
Excuse me. That was one. Not getting into this too much, but the whole Disney thing. But they're I think they're going to be fixing that soon.
God, I hope so.
With the removal of certain people
Because they're
going into the ground.
steaming garbage right now.
But anyway, so where they brought him back after he was Palpatine, after they brought him back after being thrown down the whatever on the space station before exploding, essentially.
Death Star.
Yeah, on the Death Star. Is that not what I said?
Space station is what you said.
Oh, that's no moon.
I know. It's the Death Star.
He said space station.
I know.
Obi-Wan said space station. Or Ben, excuse me.
Yeah,
Ben Kenobi said space station.
I know.
But anyway,
Death Star.
where they brought him back, and he was like scarred and deformed, like like a whole nother level,
right?
Versus like episode 3, like but it was an episode. What episode was that? 9. Yeah, it was 9 where he actually came back.
He came back,
and then they said Rey was
his granddaughter, which was
okay. That makes sense. But then she renames herself at the end. I'm like, no,
Skywalker.
No, she's not a Skywalker.
She's not.
You know. But anyway, that's another rabbit hole. But where he's like, I have been every voice inside your head that you have ever heard. But they did all these different voices.
Yeah.
That was like epically.
That was good.
That was really
where they
well
had
done.
Everybody's.
Like Snoke, and then Sidious, and then Vader, and then all these different things, all these different voices. I actually got really excited in the theater when I seen that.
Yeah.
I was like, whoa, whoever did that.
Yeah.
I applaud you.
Yeah.
You know, it was like, that was really good. But anyway, so apparently this person, this employee, that was offended that she was.
Is this in California?
No, it was actually in the UK.
Oh, might as well be. That's fine.
Yeah, same. Kind of. Yeah.
Yeah. Go ahead.
But she was offended that
liberal. All right, go ahead. Sorry, I'll shut up.
Who claimed that being associated with the Star Wars character caused her to feel unpopular at work and ultimately quit her job. All right.
Okay.
The judge concluded
she was probably unpopular anyway.
So use that excuse. The judge concluded that being told that she was the judge concluded that being told she has the same personality type as the infamous sci-fi villain at the workplace detriment a negative experience and required compensation. Good grief. I was like, I would consider that a compliment.
Put your big girl panties on and go to work.
Exactly. Darth Vader may be a ruthless villain in the Star Wars universe, but this person, category of a very focused individual who could bring teams together. Still, the judge ruled that being associated with him was insulting. Whatever. I find your lack of faith.
Yeah. Good grief.
I was like, bro,
see, I would take that. I would take that and run.
Yeah.
I would love it.
Yeah.
I mean, any of them.
I would show up the next day in
in a suit.
The full Vader suit.
Yeah. Exactly.
Same. Everything.
Yep. I would.
But anyway, yeah, I seen that and I was like,
just trying to force choke everybody.
Yeah, 100%. I was like, you've got to be kidding me. This person is ridiculous.
Yes, 100%.
Grow up. I already knew. I was like, me and this person could not be friends.
Yeah,
could not be in the same building.
Yeah, yeah.
Get over yourself.
Yeah.
All right. What we got?
First, did you watch the movie Russell Crowe's Robin Hood?
Russell Crowe's Robin Hood.
Mm-hmm. The actor Russell Crowe.
Yeah,
where he portrayed Robin Hood. Did you watch that version of Robin Hood?
I have not.
Okay. Well, moving on, your turn. No, I'm just kidding.
I was like, oh, here comes the criticism.
All right. So,
what we got?
Did Netflix censor that movie?
Did they?
Is the topic of this one. So, in the original opening scene, before you see any person, anything like that, there's a quote that pops up on screen.
Okay.
All right. And that quote says, in times of tyranny and injustice, in times of tyranny and injustice, when law oppresses the people, the outlaw takes its place in history. That was removed when that version of Robin Hood hit Netflix. So it caused a big old stink.
Yeah. Like, where is it?
Why did you not put this on there? And the reason that it was, their reason
The official reason?
The source. Let's see. It says. Yeah, no, I put the source that I got this from. It says it was done to prevent an uprising in our country because it was only done in the United States. It wasn't done anywhere else in the world.
Okay. So the U.S. version, that was removed.
Right. That was removed.
Okay.
Once it came to Netflix, it was in theaters that way
In the U.S.
in the U.S.
Yeah,
But
okay.
once it came to Netflix, Netflix removed that, and it was says to prevent an uprising. So I was like, well, when did this?
They care about...
Oh no!
Oh.
My thing was, when did Robin Hood show up on Netflix for the first time? And I couldn't find any time frame.
Okay.
Just like I was just see what was going on, like here in the U.S. at
gotcha.
that time.
Gotcha.
And
Yeah.
I never could find anything. But so this is kind of a bummer. Then this story completely fell apart.
Okay.
So from what I found, the issue isn't that Netflix specifically cut out the opening scene of the 2010 movie, but rather that the version available on Amazon Prime, and it says owned by Amazon, not Netflix, they had two versions.
Oh.
They had a version with the opening text and a version without the opening text.
Was that just out of curiosity, was that the only that was the only difference?
From what I could find, yes.
Okay.
It says the text was missing from the ultra high definition version on Prime Video, but
Okay.
the other one had it. And that's just
That's
the one
weird.
that Netflix ended up like. I'm going to say buying. I'm probably saying the wrong thing to put on Netflix.
Okay.
We'll say rent. They rented it, just like how you used to have to a long time ago. And that was just the one that they picked. So no conspiracy. Everything's fine. But it took them years to release it in the U.S. with that back on there, though. It's not like they were like, oh, I'm sorry, here. And they hit the button.
Our mistake.
Yeah, here they hit the
Clerical
button,
error.
and then it pops up. It took years for them to do that.
Why?
I don't know. I couldn't find why.
Huh. Wow.
Yeah. I only have 2 more topics before the big one, and I'm going to melt your mind.
Okay. I'll let you.
I am.
Okay. So for the big one, are you going to make me go first on the big one?
Yes. I'm going to.
It's going to sound pathetic, I'm sure.
I'll close it out
Okay.
with the big one.
All right.
Unless there is something to follow that you still have after.
Well, I didn't know. Well, I had just
How many more things do you have?
just a couple more.
Yeah, I just
But-
got 2.
Okay. Yeah, that's fine.
Before, well,
Before
technically 3, but I have
the grand
2.
finale.
Right.
Okay. So whether it's TikTok or Instagram, Facebook, whatever social media you want to fill in the blank, they all have like different challenges, right? Like,
Oh, yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
and the challenge goes viral for a little while.
Yep.
And everybody's doing it.
Yeah.
Okay. Do you remember?
Tide Pod.
Oh, God.
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Yummy. Just kidding.
Yeah, don't do that.
Don't, come on. Just be like, I remember when Tide, they came out on, at the time it was Twitter, excuse me, and they were like, all they said was on their Twitter, please stop. Mm-hmm. That's all they said. Yeah. That's all they said. And I was like, oh my gosh. They didn't reference anything else. Please stop.
Please stop.
But anyway.
All right, which one? This challenge?
This challenge specifically was parents pranking their small kids by cracking eggs on their forehead. Do you remember this?
Like real eggs?
Yeah, real eggs, not cooked eggs, raw
Right.
eggs on their forehead. You know, they're cooking,
Right.
and then their kid was standing there next to them, and they're like
helping?
yeah, and then they would crack the egg on their forehead.
I don't think I remember
just to
that.
get the kid's reaction.
Yeah,
right.
I don't think I remember that one.
Okay, so apparently, it It was a couple years ago. So like in 23, this is when this challenge was viral. And it was apparently controversial at the time. Anyways,
It's abuse.
apparently,
It's not.
I know, but apparently, according to some people, but this 24-year-old mother in Helsingborg, Sweden. Sweden.
Okay.
Helsingborg, Sweden. Even if I might be saying that wrong, but
It's okay.
that sounded pretty decent to me.
Yeah.
Was recently convicted of a harassment charge
On who did she harass?
after cracking an egg on her daughter's forehead for a
What?
TikTok video.
That's stupid.
Okay. So in 2023, a controversial trend went viral on TikTok. Parents all over the world started filming themselves pranking their small children by cracking eggs on their foreheads.
Yeah.
Okay. Many saw this as a harmless fun, even though in certain cases the kids hardly ever joined their parents in the laughter because they're like,
Right.
yeah. They're like, what?
What?
But in one particular case in Sweden, recently made the national news headlines.
Yes.
Really?
There must have been nothing going on that day.
Must have been a slow day in the newsroom. I would hope so. Yeah.
Yeah. No
After a
kidding.
young mother was convicted of harassment for humiliating her daughter by cracking an egg on her forehead.
I thought we were supposed to humiliate our kids.
That's part of the parental contract that I signed.
That's what I signed too. Yeah. You do it any chance you get.
Yeah, because they push our buttons that we installed so we can get back at them. You know, and that's part of them being under our care.
True.
Deal with it.
Love being a dad.
Yes. Every minute.
Yep.
But anyway, so she was convicted of harassment for humiliating her daughter by cracking an egg on her forehead for the amusement of her viewers. The 24-year-old woman insisted that it was a silly prank and that everyone was doing it on TikTok at the time, but that was not enough to impress said judge. All right. So, get this.
Okay.
I thought that was ridiculous enough.
Yeah.
But what happens when you're convicted? There's usually monetary involved, right? Money.
Yeah.
So this prosecutor told journalists.
Okay, hang on.
Yeah.
Before you go any further, who brought the lawsuit against the mother? Just some rando that saw it on TikTok, or did the daughter bring the lawsuit, or was the daughter even old enough to bring the lawsuit?
I don't think the daughter was old enough because it was supposed to be for young. The prank was like on young kids.
Oh yeah, that's true.
And I don't know who actually brought it up. It was one of the viewers, but I don't know if they were like, why did they pick her?
Right.
Because that trend was viral, right? A lot of people were doing it. So I don't know if she just made somebody mad and they're like, I'm going to get you back.
Right. Yeah.
I don't know. It might have been one of those cases. It doesn't before. Okay. The woman's video. Okay.
Go ahead. Sorry.
The 24-year-old mother told her daughter that they were going to bake an apple cake together and film the process for TikTok.
Okay.
At one point, the young wannabe influencer picked up an egg and cracked it against her daughter's forehead, causing the yolk to run down her face.
Oh,
the surprised girl told her laughing mother that it hurt and asked to stop.
Okay.
The woman's video eventually got around 100,000 views on TikTok, but one of the people who saw it reported it to police, and the young mother became a suspect in a harassment case against her own daughter.
That's ridiculous.
Okay. And then...
So it had to have been someone local.
I would think so.
Because, say this happened in wherever you said Sweden, and someone, probably a liberal, got offended and calls me,
Yeah.
I'm gonna be like, ma'am, go kick rocks that don't move. This took place in Sweden. There's nothing I can do. So it has to be. It has to be someone. It has to be someone local.
Yeah.
So I bet it is like you said. She like made somebody mad, and they're like, "I'm gonna get you back." Mm-hmm. It's got to be.
Yeah. And this prosecutor told journalists, "When I saw the video, I thought you simply can't do that to a child. To record and humiliate the child and then broadcast it to thousands of viewers. I find that incredibly degrading, and that's my personal opinion."
That's an opinion.
Exactly. It's a little girl who thinks she's going to bake an apple cake with her mom and is happy and excited about it. And then all of a sudden, she gets an egg cracked on her forehead. This is a reckless act, the prosecutor added.
So did the video end there? Or does it show them finishing baking the cake? Because I'm sure mom, if I would have done that and I'd have been like, oh, okay, you have yolk running down your head, I would have got something to clean that off with and just went back to the... I mean, and if they would have said, oh, Dad, that hurt. I was like, oh, I'm sorry. But it was meant to be funny.
Yeah.
I'm sorry you didn't like it. We won't do that again. And then we would continue on. But did the video that's where it ended? Or does it say... Probably doesn't say.
It doesn't say.
Because we can't tell the whole story because how the kid did get their apple pie. Mm-hmm. But...
And I'm sure they were fine eating the apple pie and enjoying that.
Yeah.
So...
Wow.
But
please tell me, I want to know the amount of money this poor woman had to pay.
Yes.
And who she had to pay. That's... I'm going to get mad.
Yeah.
All right. Go ahead.
So, and this is, you're about to find out. The young woman defended herself, claiming she was just repeating a harmless prank that was trendy on TikTok, but that did not sway the judge.
Okay.
The woman was found guilty of harassing her daughter by the Helsingborg District Court and was fined. Okay, I don't know
their money,
their currency. I'm not even sure. SEK, 20,000 SEK. Okay, which equivalents to $2,070.
Okay,
was what she had to pay.
Okay,
to her daughter.
What? I'd be like, you gonna work this off, okay?
Yeah, you're gonna work this one
out. Pay me back every dime,
and I'm gonna film it on TikTok.
Yeah.
I was like, what?
That's crazy.
Yeah, dude.
Such a liberal world. Sorry. The James Webb Telescope.
Oh, okay. The big one.
Yes.
Yeah.
The big one. All right. So, whoever was operating it at this time, and I don't know when this is.
It was me.
Oh, okay. Well, when you were operating this telescope at this time, you observed, or this, I'm going to say scientists, because I'm sure they just they wouldn't let like me show up and be like, hey, I want to look through your telescope. You know?
Sure, come on.
Yeah, it's not going to be anything like that. He observed the way he described it was a cluster of like meteors or asteroids or something.
Yeah.
And when he saw them, it obviously fascinated him and it struck his interest, so he continued to keep watching.
Right.
And he said, I'm going to have to use the camera here. He said that they were going this way, like going across our sky.
Right. Okay.
And then the following day, they had changed trajectory and were heading towards our planet.
Okay. So they like turned.
Made a 90.
Yeah. What was that?
That stupid Astro.
Oh.
Y'all are going to get to see some of my frustrations here at home. Astro. Stop. Astro. Return to charger. Yeah. It's like I hurt his feelings. He was just like, oh.
I just wanted to enjoy it.
I just wanted to walk around a minute.
Stretch my legs or my wheels.
Yeah. All right. So But yeah, they had changed trajectory. I don't think I said it right that time. But anyway,
it's closer.
They made a 90.
Wow.
And
okay.
So now this scientist is saying that they're spaceships. They're alien spaceships. And they're the size of cities.
No, dude. I've seen a movie about that.
Yeah. And
it was scary.
And they're moving at light speed. Which I should have wrote that down so I could say how fast that is.
So it's Buzz Lightyear coming back.
Yeah, it's really fast. And it says that these these objects are the size of cities. And he said they could be here because he can't. I don't know. I've never looked through one of these big gigantic telescopes. He can't really judge how far it is, or they are.
So, just gonna interject real quick. Light speed
is
186,282 miles
a second.
A second.
Yeah, I knew it was that. I knew it was very fast.
Yes,
but he can't judge how far out they are.
Okay.
And he's guessing that they're a few weeks away or a few years away. There is this huge conspiracy of 2027 that something is supposed to happen.
Catastrophic.
Is supposed to happen.
Okay.
And I don't know if this is part of it or this is why. I didn't really dig that far.
Right.
But yeah. And I'm going to leave off the last one I have after you go. It was a big letdown. So, yeah. Okay. I got it like really built me up and I was like, yes. And then it was like, so.
Okay.
It was about the Eye of the Sahara.
Oh.
I don't know if you even know what that is.
It was desert? Are we talking about?
Yeah, the Sahara Desert.
Oh, okay.
It's the Eye of the Sahara. It was rumored to be Atlantis.
Oh, I was thinking of I don't know why, but my mind went to Lord of the Rings with the big eye.
No.
It wasn't that.
Not an actual eye, but but yeah, it
like a central.
I did some research on it and nothing was found there when archaeologists went, and I was like, well, that sucks. So Atlantis is still out there if anybody wants to try to still go find it.
Yep. So here's one that's it's gonna remind you kind of a previous one that I've done.
Okay.
On this episode today.
Oh.
Except it wasn't 14,000 feet and it was not a phone.
Okay.
All right. But something fell from a ridiculous height
and made it.
Yes.
Okay.
So this someone is, I guess, 80 years old.
Okay.
All right. She fell from the apartment 6 floors up and survives unscathed.
Trying to figure out how high that is.
Well, if a floor was a floor 10 feet,
I think so.
60-ish feet.
60-ish feet. Okay. All right. Go ahead.
80 years old, survives unscathed. And I'm not going to be able to. Yekaterinburg.
Where's this at?
Russia.
Oh, the motherland.
Yes.
All right.
So, I apologize, if anybody's watching us in Russia.
She fell from the 6th floor. I'm assuming you said an apartment. Apartment. Okay.
And landed on top of a parked car. Which obviously had a big factor versus the sidewalk.
Sidewalk. Yeah.
Right.
Could that give enough? I don't know.
Okay. So
I've seen it a lot in movies. They didn't make it.
Yeah.
So
but this was caught on security cameras.
Shut the front door.
It was.
Do you have it?
I do.
Okay, we'll show it to you.
Yeah.
Does it show her get up off the top of this car and like backflip off of it and be like, be like, I'm fine?
Let's see. Does she actually get up off of this one?
Yeah, we'll put.
She just lays there. Okay.
Well, I would too. I'd probably still be there.
She's very clearly alive and conscious still, which hence the unscathed part.
Yeah.
Check this out.
Oh, here we go. I'll have to turn it a little more.
Okay, and hit play.
Oh, I thought you did.
I thought I did too, but it didn't play.
Here we go. Oh! Holy cow.
She's just like, oh.
She's doing exactly what I do. That's where she's trying to get up.
She was, dude.
I'd be laying there. Still to this day. Stuck to the top of that car.
But I was like,
holy
man.
Cow.
Dude.
Wow.
Yeah. But, so apparently, according to law enforcement, the policia, that's Spanish, but anyway, whoops.
Yeah, you were way off on that one. Go ahead.
Don't judge me. It's been a long day.
I know.
The victim was hospitalized in a medical center and is receiving necessary assistance. However, during the investigation, it was established that the elderly woman fell from the window 6 floors up due to carelessness.
Obviously.
Good job. Yay.
Wow, that's good detective work there.
But I was like, man, dude.
I could work at that one that office as a detective.
But yeah, I mean, as you saw in that video, I mean, the car gave
decent
amount.
Yeah, it had a dent.
Oh, definitely a dent.
Yeah.
No foul play or anything like that. Escaped without any major injuries, especially at her age. It still kind of remains a mystery of like how she's pretty much fine.
Wow, that's crazy.
Yeah. But anyway,
that's crazy.
Yeah.
All right.
Next.
Are you ready to have your mind melt out of your ears?
Is this it?
This is it.
Oh.
All right. This is.
Yeah.
Go ahead. No. What?
Okay. So just for the viewers, this is pretty much all I know. When I say pretty much, the only additional thing that I know is that you said this is from a credible source.
Declassified CIA.
Okay. And that is literally every bit that I know. I know nothing more.
All right. This is from December the 5th, 1988. Okay. This is not when it was declassified. This is when this event happened.
Oh, okay. Gotcha.
This is from Project Sunstreak.
Okay.
It was about remote viewing.
Okay. I've heard some on this topic,
right.
But yeah. Right. Wow. Okay.
So this was a training exercise.
Okay.
This they refer to him as viewers. He was viewer number 32. Okay. Doesn't give a name. It's
right.
Just viewer 32. His, I don't remember. It doesn't say in here because I tried to do some additional, like what's this dude's track record?
Yeah.
Or girl's track record.
Right.
Yeah, I couldn't find like if he was right like 50% of the time, 75. I don't know. But like I said, all right. So on December the 5th, 1988, I was a mere 8 years old, waiting on Christmas. Tyler, you weren't even here yet. This training exercise started at 9:15 and ended at 10:45. It's 09:15, so 9:15 in the morning and ended at 10:45.
So morning exercise.
Yes,
or whatever. Yep.
All right. So the target, I'm not going to tell you what the target is until the end.
To what they were.
To what he was trying to view.
Okay.
But it is target number 0209.
Okay, and this happened in the 80s, late 80s, you said?
Yes, December 5th, 1988.
Okay.
Here we go. Now I'm going to read this word for word because it is awesome.
Okay.
All right. Viewer number 32, December 5th, 1988. All right. The target, what he's trying to find, is a container.
Okay.
This container has another container inside of it. This target is fashioned of wood, gold, and silver. The target is similar in shape to, it says apostrophe AOL. AOL does not stand for the internet thing. This is something else that's inside the CIA. Okay. The one thing I can...
CIA is running on AOL.
Right. It has to be some kind of interference.
Okay.
Is within him trying to view, or her trying to view,
like the location where they are.
Yeah,
some sort of interference.
This is like interference.
Okay, gotcha.
Because it says the target is similar to shape to AOL, a coffin.
Okay.
So, and is decorated with seraphim.
Okay.
All right. The target is located somewhere in the Middle East or North Africa. The viewer believes this because the language that is being spoken is Arabic.
Okay.
Visuals of surrounding buildings indicate that presence of mosques, domes. Individuals in the area are clothed in virtually all white with black hair, dark eyes. One figure I honed in on wore a mustache. Okay. The target is hidden underground. Dark and wet were all aspects of the location of the target. Here we go.
Okay.
The purpose of the target is to bring people together, and it says, see page 16. So I don't know what that is.
Okay.
It has something to do with ceremony, memory, homage, the resurrection. There is an aspect of spirituality, information, lessons, and historical knowledge far beyond what we know now.
Okay.
Here we go.
Okay.
The target is protected by entities.
Oh. Okay.
It says, see page 14.
Entities.
And can only be opened now by those who are authorized to do so. This container cannot be opened until the time is deemed correct. Once it is time to open the container, the mechanism of the lock system will be found to be fairly simple. Individuals opening the container by prying or striking are destroyed by the container's protectors through the use of powers unknown to man.
Okay, let me unpack this. So the lock mechanism changes or shifts or will change when the time is right?
No, it looks complicated now. But when the time is right, it looks simple. It's kind of like one of those, that type thing.
That's how you do it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. What do you think this is?
Well, you said spiritual aspect. Is this biblical stuff?
Yes.
My mind is going to like Revelation something.
Okay. What?
I don't know. It's like my mind goes to like, I don't know, like a seal or something.
Right. That makes sense.
Like one of the seals.
The 7 seals?
Yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense. It's not it.
Okay. Is it biblical something?
You want me to tell you?
Well, yeah, but hang on.
All right.
when the time is right, which hasn't happened yet, I'm assuming.
I'm assuming not.
Okay. Yeah, dude, I don't know. What?
Training target 209 is the Ark of the Covenant.
Oh. Okay. All right. Wow.
All right. So I did a little digging after this.
Right.
Because the Ark is supposed to be in Ethiopia. According to records
of it.
Right.
Okay.
And according to the Bible, the only people that can open the Ark are the Levites. They're the ones who brought it to supposedly Ethiopia, where it is now. All right, so he says that he saw a mosque and a dome. And we'll have to scan this to show, because he drew what he saw.
Okay.
And it looks kind of like a candle. I know you can't see that. Here, put that in front of... I don't know if anybody can see that due to the light, but we'll put all of this up there.
We'll put it up there.
So it almost looks like a candle with two windows in it. All right. And a seraphim, I don't know if you know what that is. A seraphim is a six-winged being.
I was thinking like a dragon, but okay.
Right. They're a six-winged being.
6 wings.
And they are talked about in the Bible, in Revelations, and they are in the throne room of God. They're the ones that they praise God. That's what they do. And one, it has I think it says it has the face of an ox, the face of an eagle, a man.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Yes,
I remember
that's what
reading that
the
for
seraphim is.
I remember reading that for the first time, and I was like,
yeah.
What?
Yeah.
Is this?
That's the seraphim.
Okay, yeah.
So then that makes me wonder, is that the entities? Because he doesn't describe the entities. So we have the little building that looks like a candle, basically, with windows. All right, so like I said, I did some digging. We're going to put this up here too on the screen for you guys to see. Let me get to my photo. Actually, it's my Google Photos. All right. So after doing some digging, I found out that there's a sacred church in Axum, Ethiopia.
Okay.
The old spelling was AXUM. New spelling is like AKSUM. They have a church in the center of their town that is called Ancient Church with Ark of the Covenant. And for some reason, my Google Earth won't work, so I had to screenshot this. And then there's a building south of it, and it is Ark of the Covenant Church.
Okay.
We'll put this picture up too. This building right here, that little square, is identical to that. Of what's standing on top of that square is this to that, to even that shape to a T is on top of this bottom building, where everything, for you guys that'll be watching this, there's 3 buildings, and one says ancient church with Ark of the Covenant, the Ark of the Covenant Church, and then there's a building below it, and it's all wrote in a different language. There's no translation for it, but that what is on top of that building is the thing that looks like a candle.
So you said your Google Earth didn't work for this?
Yes, my Google Earth won't work now. See, watch.
Okay. That's suspicious.
Well, if I can hit the right button at the right time. Google Earth. All right, we'll go up here.
Mm-hmm.
Right there it is. Axum, Ethiopia.
Yeah.
Oh, of course, now it does it. All right, so this is what I did. This is exactly what I did. I just typed in AKSUM, Ethiopia. And just started zooming in. It's the Axum, TSION, St. Mary. It's up in the upper left corner of the city. So I'm sorry, I said it wrong. I said it was in the center of the city. And then you just zoom in, and there's those 3 buildings. But what got me was where he said that this building is protected by, or this target is protected by entities.
That's kind of scary.
Yeah.
The fact that he uses entities, not guards or something.
Entities.
To me, that's kind of vague, but also not. Like, okay, this is this is something that you probably shouldn't be messing with.
Yeah, no kidding.
But it makes me wonder, though.
That's even if you believe in remote viewing stuff.
Right. Fair enough. Fair enough. But with the whole, you said that they tried opening it.
Well, it just says that. Hang on. Yeah, here we go. Individuals opening the container by prying or striking are destroyed by the container's protectors through the use of powers unknown to us.
Is that instantaneously? Or?
I have no idea.
Very intriguing.
I know, right?
Wow. Yeah, so I mean, I think the whole just remote viewing in itself is a deep can of worms.
Yeah.
Or a deep rabbit hole. I think I combined 2 things there. A big can of worms and a deep rabbit hole.
It's a deep rabbit worm.
Yeah. And so I was, but I've seen a lot of, who was that? Was it on Sean's show?
Sean Ryan?
Yeah. A remote viewer.
Was it a girl or a woman? I don't remember.
I know I've seen it somewhere. I can't remember.
I don't know.
I could not remember. I'm going to have to remove that word from my vocabulary because obviously I can't say it.
What, can't?
No, the other one.
Remember.
No. It's like can't, but different tense.
Canted. Canteen.
Okay, it's the together of could not.
Couldn't. What?
Yeah, I can't say that word.
Could not?
Couldn't.
Couldn't. Oh, couldn't.
As we found out
gotcha.
in episode 5, that's a word I can't say.
Couldn't.
Apparently.
Couldn't.
Yeah, anyway.
It's just couldn't.
Couldn't.
There you go. Perfect.
That felt weird.
I mean, you even have the whole in it. You have to like, there you go.
But I was trying to look at it 3D and it won't go 3D. Like, it won't show.
Yeah, it's just flat. I had to click on pictures. Like, click on, spin it so I can help you.
Here you go.
It's that one. Give me a minute. You gotta go through these.
That's it?
Yeah.
Whoa. That's where the covenant is.
That's according to this viewer. Viewer number 32. That it's underground. That's almost perfect.
Wow.
with the shape of that dome compared to what he drew.
Wow.
We'll have to put that picture up for y'all to see too.
Yeah. Wow. Okay. That's wild, dude.
I know, right?
I'm gonna have to go pick up my socks over there.
Pour your mind out of your headset.
Wow. Just remote viewing to me in general is almost mind-blowing enough. But that, I don't know, I just can't get past the whole entity thing. That's like, whoa.
It's protected.
Yeah, I mean, it's like, you don't mess with that. And it's not with like conventional weapons or conventional, like, you know, normal human-made, man-made stuff.
Yeah.
Like, and that just proves again that there's more than just humanity on this planet.
Oh yeah.
You know, and there's lots of entities, good or bad, both on this planet, and that's probably most religion or not would probably agree with that statement.
Yeah,
I would imagine.
Yeah.
At least in that vague sense.
Right.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool. I would imagine then, I guess, that the people or the things that they used to strike it, I guess, didn't even affect the covenant at all. Like no damage to it whatsoever.
I guess not.
Wow.
I mean, it doesn't say that he's actively watching someone try to get into it.
True.
But I don't know.
I would be terrified to try it.
Yeah, no.
I'd be like, no, I'm good.
You don't mess with that.
No. It's just one of those things you just don't do. Wow. Because that's beyond human.
It's beyond our knowing
and ability.
Yeah.
And yeah. It's like, nope.
Yeah.
Hands off, eyes off. Nope. Can't do it.
Yeah.
It's just one of those things you aren't meant to know, and you're not going to know.
Yeah, I know.
It's one of those like, no, absolutely not. Wow. All right, dude. That was cool.
That's all I have. That's all I got to say about that. Yeah.
All right, dude.
That's it.
I think that's we can conclude it from there.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay.
If you want to.
I got I will say this real quick.
Sure.
I was watching the Sunday Cool podcast.
Yeah.
That's their channel name. No, it's not. Yeah, that's their channel name. The actual name of their podcast is called Ninjas or Butterflies. And these guys are awesome. And they were the ones I was telling you about before everything started. There's 4 of them. There's 3 guys and a girl. Yeah. And one of them was like, I got this story. And he's like, y'all are not going to believe it. And he's like, okay, you know that video of the dog on top of the pyramid in Egypt.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah. Yep.
And everybody's like, yeah, I know. And he's like, okay. He's like, someone eventually goes up and gets that dog down. Nobody saw it go up. Nothing. It was just kind of like it appeared. And you know, they say that there's supposedly a portal on top of the pyramid of the Great Pyramid. Yeah. And so my interest immediately goes up. I'm like, what?
Yeah.
So
like, tell me more.
Yeah, I'm like all about it. And he said, okay. And it was I don't even remember when that happened. Yeah. When that video came out or anything like that. But he was like 2 years before. Oh, and he said once a guy climbed the pyramid
I heard about that.
Got the dog down.
Yeah.
And it said it had a collar on, and it said Cooper.
Scooby-Doo.
No, it said Cooper.
Yeah.
And
Cooper. Okay.
let me get the town right real fast, because it had an address.
Oh.
Yeah. Okay. So it had a collar on, and his name was Cooper.
Mm-hmm.
And it had Ellensburg, Washington on it. Well, there's supposedly a portal
there.
Yeah. Called Mel's Hole. And these folks lived near Mel's Hole, and the dog got away one day, and it never came back home. And so,
whoa.
So everybody, even me, I'm like, what? Yeah, there's no.
Did y'all go on vacation last week?
Time travel.
Yeah.
And I'm like, shut up, this ain't right.
Right. Yeah.
And they're all like, I mean, their jaws are like, listening to this.
Yeah.
And he goes, I made that up. And I was like, fine. He was like, yeah, I made that up. And they were like, are you for real? And he's like, yeah, I made that up. So the dog on top of the pyramid did not come from Ellensburg, Washington. It was a joke.
But there was the dog up there.
Yes, that the guy parasailing, is that what it's called?
Yeah, the parasailer.
Yeah, he has a video of it.
Yeah, I was looking that up.
Yeah.
Okay.
But the whole part of it coming from Ellensburg, Washington, he made that all up. It was so good though. I was like, dadgummit.
Man.
Because he even went in and was like, they found the couple that owned the dog, and was like, yeah, he went out to go to the bathroom one day, never came back, all this kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And
had the whole story.
Yeah. I mean, he had the hook, line, and sinker. I mean, I swallowed every bit of it. And then he was like, I made that up.
No.
Yeah.
Man.
Yeah.
Oh, dude.
No kidding. But yeah.
That's nuts. But how did it get up there?
I don't know. Nobody saw it get up there. I don't know. It just like, there it was.
Because that thing is huge.
Oh yeah.
Those blocks are huge.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know how it got up there.
Or did he make it up? I'm going to take it a step further.
What do you mean?
Did he make that up? Or did he know something?
No.
No, man, that's nuts, dude. Wow.
Yeah. So, but that's all I have.
Okay.
I ended my part on remote viewing.
I have one more that I could do.
Do it. Do it real quick.
So, AI, or no, not necessarily AI, Chat GPT, calling them out.
Okay.
It's not really Chat, okay. It's kind of Chat GPT's fault in a way, but not really. All right, so this woman, this couple, this married couple, they were married for about 12 years.
Okay.
All right. And so Chat GPT reads. All right, let me back up. This woman no, Chat GPT, chatbot, it's great for a lot of things. It's handy, you can use it for a lot of things. However, I couldn't recommend putting your trust blindly in it.
No.
Like, don't trust it.
Yeah.
Because there's no telling. Well, apparently this guy recently appeared on a TV morning show in Greece for ChatGPT destroying his marriage. And I was like, okay, how? So by painting him as an adulterer simply by interpreting the coffee grounds in a cup of coffee he had posed with for his wife. Allegedly following a social media trend, the man's wife thought it would be fun to have the world's most popular chatbot read their coffee cups in a sort of modern twist of the art of
that
tastography. I know I butchered that one.
Sure.
But anyway, she made coffee for both of them and then uploaded photos of the coffee grounds in their cups for ChatGPT to read.
Okay.
The chat bot claimed that the woman's husband was having an affair with another woman, which made his wife furious.
Of course.
But what would you do in that case? Well, hopefully talk to the person. No, she didn't. She didn't talk to him. She was furious enough with ChatGPT's response to file for divorce without even asking him if it was true.
Of course.
Why are we putting so much trust in an AI chatbot?
Yeah, I know, right?
Like, okay. But I'm just like, man, this
Yeah, I know.
we got problems.
That's like it's like when your wife has a dream and wakes up
dude,
and wakes
mad at
up
you?
and wakes up mad at you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's your fault.
Yeah, of course.
It's like, I didn't even do anything.
Yeah. I slept. I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, I might have snored a little bit.
But yeah.
But whatever. But
I could 100% see that.
yeah.
The whole not talking to him part, that sounds crazy. When you started saying that, I didn't know that was an actual thing, about reading coffee grounds in the bottom of a cup. That took me to Harry Potter.
Yeah. Oh. Yeah. Yeah.
Where they
the
read
wolfers,
yeah.
and the
was it Prisoner of
the
Azkaban?
Bad Omen or something. Prisoner of
Where he got
Azkaban. Book number 3, movie number 3.
Yeah. That's where my mind went.
Where Sirius Black. Yeah.
I was like, she's been watching a little too much Harry Potter.
Yeah, pretty much.
So yeah. That was cool, man.
Yeah.
I still don't believe your iPhone tail from 14,000 feet. There's no possible way. So I don't believe it.
I don't know. I mean, we'll put the video up there too. We'll put the video up there too. So
yeah.
But I don't know. But I don't know.
I don't know either. So
I mean, congrats to him for his phone still being working. You know.
Yeah, for him going out and buying a new one.
Sell it on eBay.
Yeah.
14,000 foot.
14,000 piece iPhone.
Piece of iPhone.
Sponsored by Lego.
I didn't know they did a partnership, but okay.
Well, they are for his phone.
Yeah.
So.
All right, man.
Yeah, bud.
So episode 6.
Episode 6 in the books.
Yep. You want to close it out?
Sure. Sorry, my son poked his head out the door. Yeah, thank you guys for watching this one. Just gonna talk just real briefly about me. I hate talking about me. You don't even know this. June 7th coming up in Marion, North Carolina. We got the Liver Mush Festival coming up, and me and my business will be there, which is Bridgewater Custom Furniture. We'll be there, just trying to sell some of our things that we've been working on. So if you're local, come out and see us. Say hey. So Come see us. And thanks for watching. Like and subscribe. We know. Don't we?
Yes.
We know.
We know.
What you got?
And unlike the CIA, we don't withhold information for years.
We don't.
We're like, no, this is what's happening.
Yeah, we won't. Yeah, we won't do that. We won't do that to you.
No. Let's see.
I'm getting hungry.
Yeah, man. It's getting.
It's late too. You know what time it is?
Yeah, I do.
I know.
I was like, oh.
It's like 15 after 9.
Went way longer than I thought we would. But anyway.
That camera says 2 hours and 50 minutes and right now.
Yeah.
That's cool. Mm-hmm. This was a good one.
It was, dude.
I like it.
I was pretty good.
I enjoyed this one.
So, okay. Trying to think of how to word this.
Just say it.
So I was, we talked about this before the show, and I'm not going to go into much detail at all in regards to this, but I was reminded this past week, just how fragile life is. And, you know, in your profession and stuff like that, you know, especially when you're, you know, out on the road, you know this already. And, you know, and I was in, you know, doing firefighter stuff for a while. And so, you know, this information isn't new to me. But it's just, you know, sometimes certain situations just hit you differently.
Yeah.
Be like, man, you know, and this one did. And I'm not going to really say anything more than that as far as details on that part.
Yeah.
But it just reminded me, you know, life is fragile, or it can be, and that, you know, whether you're skydiving or whatever, just have it in your mind that, you know, it's okay to make plans for future. And that's good to do, to make plans for the future self, for yourself and your family, whatever.
Right.
But always have it in your mind, and just perspective, I think, is what I'm trying to get at. It's important to know that you may not experience more than just today.
Right.
You know, that's just a general statement for every human being.
Yeah, that's true.
Because you, as much as you may have your life planned out, your day, your week, whatever planned, and while those may come to pass and you may, you know, do those, but something completely unpredicted can surface.
Yeah.
No matter who you are, no matter you know, what brand you wear, how much money you've got, whatever, you're not exempt from this.
No.
Something could happen beyond your control.
Yeah.
And not let you see tomorrow. So just keep that in mind, you know, whenever you're communicating and dealing with people that are close to you, or people in general. Like, you don't know what people are going through. You know, I mean, you might, but some people you won't, because they won't say anything.
Yeah.
They'll keep it to themselves. But, which, reach out. Don't hold it in, you know, when it gets to that point, especially. But yeah, life is fragile. And I was very closely reminded of that this week. And it was very unfortunate. But yeah, I really enjoyed this episode.
This one was fun.
We had a lot of really cool, different. I liked it. You know, because whenever we talked about it, it's like, let's just do some random stuff, and I think it went good.
Yeah,
good. I definitely do this part again. Yeah, thanks guys for tuning in, and we will catch you guys in episode 7.
Yep.
Of the Lost Signal podcast.
That's right.
Thank you guys. We appreciate you for watching and supporting us. And like you said, like, subscribe, share this even. Share it around on your socials, social medias, I should say. Not other socials. That's different.
Yeah.
Don't share those. But yeah, see you guys in the next one.
See ya.
Peace.